Hey guys, welcome to another Garage Time with Goody. And what we're going to be doing today is replacing motor mounts on a 2005 Nissan Altima 2.5 liter engine. I would just like to reiterate to everybody that I'm not a professional mechanic, so there's probably 10 different ways to do this exact same job. But what I'm doing is I'm doing the best way that's easiest for me. Maybe it helps somebody out there to save a little bit of money by watching my video. That is my intentions here. So with that being said, let's get started. First thing you want to do, this is a low riding car, is you're going to want to jack this car up unless you have hydraulic lifts, which I do not. So I don't have any fancy tools, guys, like most people don't. I'm just using a jack, a 3-ton jack, and this is a low riding car, and I'm going to be using jack stands too. And I'm going to be going for the front motor mount first. Let me pop the hood and I'll show you. What we have here is the engine, and the motor mount I'm going to be replacing first is right there. This beauty right here, it is. It's the front motor mount. You can use a little bit of this right here or WD-40 and spray some on the motor mount bolts so that when you get under there, they will come off much easier. I have a jack stand here for safety. I have a jack stand over there for safety. There is the regular jack. Here, this is the scissor jack. What it's going to be used for, if you can see these bolts, right beside of it is where the transmission and the motor mount together. You want to put the scissor jack here, and when I loosen the bolts, if I need to, I can make the scissor jack push up the motor and transmission a little bit and give me a little more room and leeway to take off that engine mount. So that's pretty important. Okay, what you're going to need next, these bolts down here are 17 millimeter. So on one side, you're going to have to hold the bolt so it doesn't move. And on the other side, you're going to have it where a ratchet where you can, undo the bolt. So this, you'll take a box wrench and just hold it in place while you're using the other 17 millimeter deep well. I'm going to try a 6-sided. If that doesn't work, I'm going to try a 12, and I'm going to start taking that off there. This right here is the first bolt on the front engine mount. This is the second bolt, and I'm going to be loosening these up. This is a ratchet with a cheater pop already made onto it. This is coming right off. For some of you, it may be on there pretty tight. Like I said, I did put the PB blaster on there. And you want to check to see if the other side is moving. And then if it starts to move, you'll need to put a wrench, a box wrench on the other side to keep it from moving. Now the good thing is that if you can see, this wrench will go up against this cross member and it will keep it from going backwards. So you really don't have to hold on to it as you take it off, if you understand what I'm saying. Because see, it's pushing the wrench backwards as I'm taking the nut off of the bolt, and there's nowhere for it to go except for up against that cross member, and that cross member is definitely going to hold it in place as I take off this bolt. And there are 3 bolts altogether. There's 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top. And I'm taking off the bottom ones right now. So it's got to where I can just take these off, take this bolt off with my finger. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to set it down in a place where I'm not going to lose it. You always want to keep up with your bolts. And now I'm going back here for this bolt. And I'm going to put the wrench, the box wrench on it. On the other side. And the same principle is going to work. When this comes down, it will only come down so far, because it's going to go up against the cross member here, or the frame, whichever you want to call it. See, it's up against the frame now, and it's keeping the other side from moving. So no problem. Okay, I've almost got the back one off of there. Let's see if it will move at all with the, take it off there with my thumbs, my hands a little bit. It looks like it's coming right off, if you guys can see that. The final bolt is going to be that one right there, and it's going to have to come off from over on this side, and that's what I'm going to do. All right, for the third bolt, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the battery and move over this fuse box. I'm going to go from above and take out the last bolt from above. What I'm doing now is I'm taking off the battery. I'm going to get that last third bolt from the top. I'm using a 10mm small ratchet here. Looks like that one is a little bigger. Okay, the positive lead on this one, because it's been replaced by an aftermarket terminal, it's a 13mm. We're going to take the positive post off. I'm going to set that over there. Then we're going to pull the battery up and out of the way. We're not going to set this on the ground. Set this on a tire. And it looks like we're going to have to remove the battery compartment right here, the whole compartment. Okay, so what you want to do before you take off these bolts, which are 12mm by the way, you want to get the screwdriver, push these plastic tabs to this fuse box in, because it's on the side of the battery holder on the mount. So just make sure that pulls up before you take off this platform here. You get these loosened up here. And then I'll go ahead and just kind of take them out like just like this. Remember guys, it's a 12 millimeter. Should be anyway, unless somebody has monkeyed around with your car before and put in the different size bolts. There are 5 bolts. So there are 5 bolts, and I couldn't hardly see over here. But there's one right here and one right here. Now, a lot of other people on their videos, they took out the radiator and everything and drained the fluids. This way, I'm showing you, you know, I'm not going to be doing all that. This is just a different way that I do it. I know there's about probably 10 other different ways to do it, but I'm going to scoot it out of the way temporarily until I break the bolt loose, and it's loosening up nicely. This is loose enough now where I can just use my fingers to go ahead and take it out of there. And there is bolt number 5. And now this should lift on up out of there. Now the next part here, these two poles right here that connect to the platform are mounted in by these little plastic pieces here. Now you can take a pair of pliers or whatever you have handy. You can push it in, push the little sides in. And then there's one on the bottom. It's pretty dirty there, guys. Anyways, here's the one on the bottom. And some people just cut these off. They don't really care, but I'm going to put it back exactly the way. I'm taking this off. And then we have the battery compartment or platform, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to set it on the ground. And this is what it looks like down in here after all that's taken off. And then it's going to give me access to that last bolt. Now guys, what I'm going to be doing, so I don't have to drain the fluids, I'm going to be taking some zip ties and zip tying that back so I can have access to that last 3rd bolt. You guys can see I have used zip ties to pull that radiator hose back so that I have access to the last bolt to release the motor mount, the front motor mount. Now if you don't have a ratchet like this, you can use a breaker bar, which will take you longer. As I'm twisting this, you can actually see on this side that the bolt is moving down there. On the other side, it's coming out and loosening. That's another way you can tell that it's coming out. In fact, once you break the grip of the nut, you can use a smaller ratchet if you want to. In fact, I think that's what I might do myself. And what I'm doing now, I'm using a smaller ratchet, still with a 17 millimeter socket, and it's giving me a lot more room. And this last bolt is coming out pretty quickly now. It's loose enough to where I can turn it with my fingers again. And then I'm just gonna first take out the top bolt, and that's it right there. You're not want to lose this. Just put it up where you're not going to lose it. Once you have taken the two lower bolts out of the motor mount and then taken the top one off, you gently use a pry bar and you finagle the mount out and just pull it up and straight out. And then there you have it.